Hello and welcome to Flying Bobbins. I'm Liz, and in this month in the Flying Bobbins Sew Along Club we are going to be making the McCall's zip front dress. This is pattern number M8553. It comes in two size brackets, 6 to 14 and 16 to 24. I'm wearing my chambray tencel denim version of this today. There'll be more photos of that later on. And then in this video series, I am going to be making a version in the Atelier Brunette Palmer needle cord. This is a really great style to take you through the seasons. You could wear this all year long, a lighter weight one in the summer, through to sort of cords and velvets in the winter with boots and tights. So it really is a great dress to add to your pattern library and to give a go at making. This dress features a collar, a zip at the front, gathers into a lovely full skirt with pockets. You've got some patch pockets at the front here as well, and then a puff sleeve with a cuff. You do get to learn a lot in this make. There are loads of techniques, including the pockets, the zip, the facing, the collar, the sleeves, the gathers, the inseam pockets in the skirt. There's tons and tons of skills that you're going to learn, which is really great. Nothing too tricky. I would say the most difficult thing is probably the zip insertion and getting everything balanced and symmetrical at the front, which is what's going to make this dress look really, really good. If you take everything one step at a time, then I'm sure you'll be fine. So size wise, this pattern runs from a size 6 up to a size 24 in UK sizing, and that is a 30.5 inch up to 46 inch bust, or a 78 up to 117 centimetre inch bust. All of the fitting at this dress really comes from the bust. It's a very loose fit round the waist with lots of ease and an extremely full skirt, as you can see from the illustration there. It comes in two lengths, midi and maxi. The midi is a really long midi. I actually had to take quite a lot out of the length to get to the length that's depicted here on the illustration on the photograph on the front of the envelope. You have so you have your knee length and your midi length. You also have short or long sleeves. So the long sleeves feature a cuff. The short sleeves is what I'm wearing today with the little puff detail. So like I say, this will feature as the project of the month for September 2025 in our Flying Bobbins Sew Along Club. You can go along to Flying Bobbins and join the club in order to follow along with the sew along, or you can purchase the sew along separately, and I should pop links below. If you'd like to know more about the Sew Along Club, it's £10 per month. We have a new project of the month every month. You get the video sew along to that. You can use your own patterns and stash to follow that sew along, or you can buy one of our kits, which includes absolutely everything you need, beautifully coordinated to complete your project. So here are my top tips for making the McCall's zip front dress. Having made two of these dresses now and really dissected the pattern itself and the instructions, there are a few things that I would like to share with you. So if you don't want to watch the full video sew along, then these will be my tips. The first one is to pay attention to the symmetry of the dress. You've got a lovely symmetrical graphic design going on here. I would say baste and check at each stage. So the first thing that you're going to do is make these pockets, and it's really worthwhile when you're pressing them to make sure they're exactly the same size, and then that they're exactly lined up when you place them onto your front panels. I even drew lines in from the edge and up from the waist so that I could make sure that these were beautifully lined up. The same goes for the collar. Start off by basting this in place. Check, fold your garment in half, check that the collar pieces match up beautifully before going ahead to sew them in. Be aware that the pattern includes a 40 centimetre zip, so it asks you to source a 40 centimetre zip. Depending on your size, you will almost always need to shorten this zip down, so gather the tools that you might need. It looks better with a metal zip, I think, because that's a real feature of the garment, and you know there are special ways that you can shorten metal zips, so you keep the staple at the bottom the same, but you shorten the zip from the top, and I do cover how to do that in my video sew along, but just make sure that you have some pliers in order to remove additional teeth that you want to take out from the top zip there. Advice number 3 is to do with the pockets. So my advice, it's a bit tricky to show you on this camera shot, but these pockets are set down quite far from the waist, and they're at the side front seams as opposed to the side seams. So your front skirt is made from 3 panels. The pockets are in the side front seam panels, and they're quite far down. I'm 5'4", I'm pretty average proportions. When I put my hands in my pockets, I can't reach the bottom, and that's really, really weird. So my top tip would be just to pay extra special attention to the position of those pockets. With the second dress that I made, I actually moved those pockets into the side seams where I feel like they belong, and I brought them much further up towards the waist. And again, I cover that alteration in my video sew along, but I would definitely pay attention to the rather odd positioning of the inseam pockets that you have with the skirt on this dress. They seem a bit odd how they've placed them. And I'm not the only person to say that, so just do have a look if you're making this dress at where you're putting those inseam pockets that go into the skirt. Keeping with the skirt, I did find that I wanted to make the midi length. I wanted it to hit mid-calf. I didn't want it to be floor length. But in order to get it mid-calf on me, I needed to take 15 centimetres out of the length. I think they are very generous with their proportions in this pattern. So check the length of that skirt. When you're doing so, your waist is here. So this bodice sits on the high waist, and your natural waist sits below. That is marked on the pattern piece. Hold the pattern piece up to yourself to see where you think that skirt wants to fall. You might find, if you're a middle height like me, 5'4", then you might find that you want to take some length out of that skirt. I just found that it came up almost floor length in the longer version. I'm not a big fan of knee length dresses that hit the exact knee. I find that they kind of chop me in half a bit and make my legs look funny. So I prefer to make the midi length version, but even then I needed to take some out to stop it from being like a maxi dress. And I wanted this to be an easy everyday dress that I could wear. So I didn't really want that kind of glamorous maxi length. I wanted more of a mid calf that I could wear with an ankle boot or a pair of flip-flops in the summer. Staying with the fit, when choosing your size, my last tip is just to be aware that there is lots and lots of ease in this pattern. That is the design of it. I did actually go down a size versus my body measurements. Do take a look on the back of the envelope at the finished garment measurements. So start off by looking at your body measurements, choose your size, and then sanity check those against the finished garment measurements to check that you're not going to end up with a dress that's too big. So my alterations were that I went down a size in order to, and I've still got plenty of room, as you can see. If you do prefer a really fitted bodice like this, I'm just pinching it out at the back there, then, you know, perhaps either this style isn't for you, or you need to make some quite drastic fitting because this is designed to be loose and boxy, as is the modern trend. So yeah, just be aware of that you may want to take it in a bit at the side seam if you're not used to that looser, more boxy fit. You can see that it swings out, you know, at the back. There is a lot of nice room there, which is very flattering and comfortable. But if you do want something fitted, just be aware that there is a lot of room in the bodice. If you are going down a size in the bodice, maintain the sleeves as they are. I found the cuff to be quite tight. So if you're going down a size in the bodice to get a more fitted feel in the bodice, try to maintain your true size on the sleeves and the cuff. Otherwise you might find if you reduce everything that you end up with a bodice that fits you tightly, but that a sleeve that's really too tight for you. So one extra tip, whilst I think about it, is that when I made my second one of these, this is my first one, when I made my second one, I actually reduced the seam allowance on that cuff to 1 centimetre rather than 1.5 centimetres, just to give myself a bit more room. I mean, it's fine, but it just is a little tight on the cuff. So I just did give myself a bit more room by minimising the seam allowance on my cuff. So just cross-reference that. Maybe if it happened for me, you'd find the same, or maybe not, but it's just worth taking a look. So that concludes my top tips for sewing the McCall's zip dress. I love it. I think it will be worn on repeat throughout the autumn for sure, and into the summer next year, definitely. A really great dress, very easy to wear, very easy to style, and perfect for the transitional months. Do take a look at the link below if you want to join the Sew Along Club for my full 6-chapter sew along of this dress, which includes absolutely every single stage. And good luck with your make. I can't wait to see how they turn out.